Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special. Goddamn, we just started. I already owe you guys a beer. It didn't take long at all. That is a world record, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. This is Sammy Synsiter here, bringing you another episode of Sammy's Slaughterhouse. I do apologize for the interruption. I'm sorry I've been gone for so long. I do love you guys. I have been busy doing nothing. I have been on vacation, and I have spent my vacation gloriously not doing a damn thing, and it was wonderful. But it feels good to be back with you guys. So I do love that. However, it does not feel good to be bringing you another Raw review, and I've been through this a million times with you guys. I don't hate on Raw and SmackDown like a lot of people do. I love WWE still. It's what got me into wrestling. I still love WWE, but it's just getting to where it's a chore to do this Monday night show. And it's just getting harder and harder for me. But I'm trying. So instead of bringing you like a match by segment thing, I'm just going to kind of hit some high points of the show and then give you my thoughts. Overall, I'm going to probably give it another loss. Not a lot happened. It was slow, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great at all. Excuse me. So we started off the show, and we have a segment from what the fuck's her name? I can't even think of it right now. That's how tired I am. Miss Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie comes out, and she introduced everyone that's going to be in the Survivor Series men's team for Raw. Cool. It's everyone you think it is. It's Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and they're going to introduce the final member. And it's Seth Rollins. Who the fuck surprised? Which is good. I mean, Seth Rollins is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Here's one of my biggest problems with this Survivor Series. They're making this big deal out of Raw versus SmackDown, Raw versus SmackDown, Raw versus SmackDown. They're getting this, they're getting that. My brain stopped working for a second. I'm sorry for just popping out there for just a second. They're just going back and forth on how they're trying to make this such a big deal. The issue is, what's the reason to win beyond just bragging rights? Like, cool, yeah, you get bragging rights. Your brand won at the pay-per-view. To me, there needs to be something that your brand gets for winning. Whatever it may be. I don't know. That I couldn't tell you. I've tried to think of a couple different things. But there's just nothing to win. It's just bragging rights. And bragging rights don't give you a whole lot. But what do you do? It's shaping up to be pretty fun. So we get some tussles between everybody in the beginning. The big thing is they're going to be a 5-way match for the main event of the night. Whoop-de-doo. And there's a couple things that happened tonight. They announced and I'm going to jump around a little bit tonight, guys, because again, I assume everyone's watched it, and I just want to hit kind of the high points, low points, give you my thoughts. They talked about who the final two members of the Raw Women's Survivor Series team are. So there it is: Charlotte, it is Bayley, it is Nia Jax, it is Sasha Banks, and the wild card is Alicia Fox, which means they didn't have another mainstream women's wrestler to use there. No offense to her, but it is what it is. What do you do? So there's some tussle between them. Dana Brooke comes out, and there's a 3-on-3 match, and it's meh. It's not very good. None of the matches are very good tonight. We do get a segment, probably the funniest segment tonight to me, was the tag team Raw Survivor Series team. God damn, that's getting harder and harder to say. And everyone comes out there, and they're in Scotland tonight. They're in Glasgow. And all the teams are out there, and they're complaining, and fucking, of course, Sheamus takes the time to get some cheap heat, because what do you do when you can't think of something else to do? You get some cheap heat. Not a bad idea. So, and they go back and forth, and then New Day comes out, and they're dressed in fucking, what are those things called? In kilts. And they get some cheap pops, play off the Scottish crowd. I'm getting pretty tired of New Day. I'm not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just kind of off that train. And it doesn't help that I was tired through most of this tonight. So it just, not a whole lot comes out of this. One of the really interesting things that did come out of tonight is we had a tag team cruiserweights match between Rich Swann and Sin Cara versus your cruiserweight champion, what the hell is his name? Brian Kendrick and Noam Dar. Noam Dar made his Raw debut for the cruiserweights. He is a native Scotland boy, so this is a good choice. And they definitely had a lot of pops going for him. They're really happy to see one of their hometown kids there. One of the things that came out of this is they played a video package for something called 205, which really interested me for a second because my area code is 205, and I was like, are the cruiserweights coming to 205? Because they kept showing cruiserweights during it. It turns out it seems like they're going to do another show for the cruiserweights, which is a good idea. You can have them where they're on their own show. You don't have to worry about other storylines going on. You can just focus on them, and then you can have your title matches and stuff on Raw and on the Raw brands. I am so sorry, guys. God damn, I'm being unprofessional as hell tonight. Woo! I need to get me an energy drink. So one of the things that happened, going back 1 second to the ladies segment, the crowd got so fucking obnoxious and would not stop chanting. It was great that they were that in love with Bayley and that it was putting some heat on Charlotte. But just as a fan, I got sick of it. I got tired of hearing it, and I was ready for the segment to end so I could stop hearing it in the match, and it just kept going on. And I know that's really nitpicky, and it's awesome to see that she's getting that much love on her, but it was just it was me. It was me. I was not a big fan. We had a terrible tag team match between Golden Truth and Shining Stars. Shining Stars win. The Kofi, New Day versus the Club. The Club actually wins, and another not so great match. But I'm hoping, good God Almighty, I'm hoping that this is potentially going to lead to the Club run with the belt, and I really hope they do so before New Day breaks the record, because I don't think they should break the record. I don't really like that. I'm not a big component, or not a big opponent of that. You know what the fuck I'm trying to say. It just meh. So we do get a Rusev versus Sami Zayn match, and again, it was just not a very good match. But this was for who is going to face Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series. Sami Zayn does go over. And one thing we kind of noticed about this match is I watched this with my buddy. I swear to God, Rusev came out without facial hair, and by the end of that match, that motherfucker had a full beard. I swear to God he did. It was the weirdest shit. We get to the final segment of the night, which is the one I'm probably the most going to focus on, which was a 5-way match. And it is exactly what you think it was. It was a mess. It was hard to keep up with, but they got some good storytelling out of it. One of the big stories coming out of it was that clearly WWE is going to try and put some faith into Braun Strowman. The first half of this match, he dominated single-handedly, which is good. He looked strong. And eventually, it took everybody doing pretty much their finisher or one of their signature moves to take him down. The problem I had with that is that, I'm cool. It took everyone to get him down, but once he got down, he never got back up again. And that's an issue. You should have got back up and caused more destruction. And, they're still teasing a Shield reunion, which I think is just too early. It's way too early. Of course, Seth came out of here looking like your biggest baby face. Roman, of course, got booed. Jericho and KO looked great. The finish was pretty funny. Roman hit a Superman punch on Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens fell, but when he fell, he landed on top of Jericho, and he got the win over Jericho. So that was pretty good. So all in all, it just wasn't a great night. It wasn't a great night at all. Some of the segments really, really annoyed me. There was not any even good matches. There was maybe one or two okay matches, and everything else was bad. And they're just, they're gearing up towards Survivor Series, but without there being anything on the line with Survivor Series, I don't care. There's some other things I didn't touch on between Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, but not a lot. There was nothing new here. It was just some more video packages from Lesnar, and I could go off on a whole video about why I can't stand Brock Lesnar still, because he's everything I dislike about the wrestling genre and the entire company. So that's this. I'm going to jump over. I'm going to do a couple really quick. What the fuck are these things? God, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just fucking everything up tonight. But I'm going to do some quick listener comments, and then I will be calling it a night, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, you can always hit me up on the Twitter at Sammy Synsiter. Hit us up at KocoSports. Hit me up on Facebook. I'm working on making a Sammy Synsiter Facebook, which will probably be the easiest way to get in touch with me as well. But let's go ahead and do a couple real quick listener comments. So Heavy J says the crowd was great. Loved the Bayley segment. I like what it represented, but it really got on my nerves. So I can agree and I disagree with you. And TM Bishop 07, which I probably butchered your fucking name, and I'm super sorry. He said Glasgow was dicks for fucking up the segment, but it shows you how Raw was tonight. And this is one of the biggest divisions between wrestling fans and and I don't like using the term, but like the IWC and your casual fans stuff is the IWC says if you pay your money, and not the IWC, but a lot of fans say if you pay your money, you're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want to do, and you can hijack any segments, and you can be a dick. And yeah, there's some absolute validity to that. You spend your money, you decide how you spend your money. But I am very classic in how I feel about this, and that there's a social contract when you pay to go watch an event that you are the third member of the show. There's the ring, there are the wrestlers, and then there is you, and you have a social obligation to make the show as good as it can. And hijacking segments and being obnoxious as fuck like that doesn't get the show over. It just slows it down to a halt. And that bugs me. I don't like when fucking fans think they can hijack a segment just because they want to. And a lot of people disagree with me on that. And that's, whatever. What do you do? It bothers me. There's times where it's warranted, and there's times where it wasn't warranted right here. If a heel is trying to get heat, by all means. But just chanting the same thing. Like, Bayley's over. We don't have to try and get Bayley over anymore. The reason that Charlotte beat Sasha at Hell in a Cell is because they're going to work up towards a Bayley-Charlotte match. More than likely for WrestleMania. So there's no reason to get Bayley over. She's over. And it's clear that she's over. The crowd doesn't need to try to get her over. Maybe they're scared that they're going to have another John. And the Daniel Bryan, as much as I think he's one of the best wrestlers, Daniel Bryan fans ruined a lot of this. And I'm sorry, they did. They thought that they had to get Daniel Bryan over, and then they got him over, and it was great, and everyone was happy, and he got hurt, and they fucking lost faith in him. And I can't really blame them for that. Daniel Bryan fans are like this to me, and I have quite a few things like this. Daniel Bryan is like this. I love Daniel Bryan. I dislike Daniel Bryan fans. One of my favorite bands is Whitechapel. I love Whitechapel. I hate Whitechapel fans. And they're everything I dislike about a lot of online wrestling fans. And it bugs me. And maybe I think that's who tried to take over Raw with Bayley. And maybe that's what they're scared of, is that you got to make everyone that gets over Daniel Bryan. And I'm sorry, be like, oh, we got Daniel Bryan over. No, you didn't. They heard you, and they put Daniel Bryan over. And keep holding him back like they did is what got him over, because they knew y'all liked him. So Vince is a lot smarter than you. He is a lot smarter than y'all give him credit for. Y'all, like I'm attacking y'all directly. He's a lot smaller than people give him credit for. And he knew exactly what it was doing. And they know what they're doing with Bayley. And Bayley, especially, she works so good as an underdog, and she's already the underdog in this situation, that it's going to work. So have some faith. Have some faith. The Glasgow crowd was rough tonight. They were loud and obnoxious then, and there were other times where there were some okay matches, and they just sat on their fucking hands. It was a little bit of a boring show. So one last thing. So Bishop, one more time, says it's Bishop for short, and let's all vote Paul Heyman for president tomorrow. You know what? Let's all vote Paul Heyman. I told my buddy that I was watching wrestling with tonight, it's like, I'm going to vote for Stone Cold Steve Austin for president. And he's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, I'm not going to vote for Steve Austin, the podcaster, the entertaining individual I listen to on a weekly basis. He's cool and all, but I want to vote for Stone Cold Steve Austin. So when it's time for a debate, fucking glass cracks, and he comes out there and starts stomping mud holes and dropping stunners everywhere. And his running mate, of course, can be The Rock. I would love to see those debates. I would fucking 100% agree with that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But Paul Heyman definitely could be a better president than any of these two human colostomy bags. But that's political. I'm not going to get into that. It's not worth getting into. Let's not even fucking bring it up. But do your civic duty. Go and vote. That's all wonderful. Or don't vote. Fuck if I care. I don't give a shit. Edward Mohan, my boy Edward Mohan. How you doing, brother? He says, I agree with you 100%. I'm glad you agree with me 100%, but I would love to know what you agree with me 100% on. And you can tell me what you agree 100% on at the Twitter, at Sammy Synsiter, at KocoSports. Let me know what you think over there. Of course, hit me up in the comments of this video or any other Sammy Synsiter videos. I check those pretty regularly to see what you guys are saying. Heavy J, one last thing. He says Dario for vice president. No, I want Dario Cueto as Emperor of America. Because as one of the chief officers of the Dario Cueto fan club, I have to promote him as hard as I can. And I will promote him as hard as I can online at Koco Sports on YouTube and Twitter. And I will do all those there. Of course, always keep updated, guys. Check out all of me and LK stuff here. LK gets a little down sometimes. He really busts his ass for all of you guys because he loves doing this. I love doing this. I love bringing you videos. I love talking about all of this shit. And me and LK are actually in the works on bringing you another channel. This would be another podcast channel that we can do where it's not wrestling related. So if you want to hear us talk about some things that aren't wrestling related, we talk about TV shows, talk about maybe politics, talking about this, that, and another, whatever the fuck we feel like talking about that day. Of course, check us out. That's going to be in the near future. We will give you some more information about all of that. For now, for tonight, this is one very, very tired Alabamian that is enjoying the last few days of freedom he has before the holidays suck my poor management retail soul. I will catch all you beautiful, sexy motherfuckers on down the road. Please be safe, be kind to one another, and remember life's number one rule. If you don't know what life's number one rule is, let me lay it down. If you actually go back and look at historical documents, there were not 10 commandments given to Moses. There were 2 commandments given to Uncle, the goddess of Mesopotamia. And on those tablets, it was written, number 1, thou shalt not be a dick. Rule number 2, refer to rule number 1. And if you live by those 2 very, very simple rules, then you will live a happy and fulfilling life. Treat people as you want to be treated and don't be a dick. I will see you wonderful, beautiful people later. Good night and good luck tomorrow.